story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello and welcome to CoreTV Primetime News Weekend Edition. I am Gift Ogete. In our major story, Nigeria's Civil War hero Benjamin Adekunle dies at 78 in Lagos. Also in this program, Nigeria to establish special forces to tackle Boko Haram. Nigeria Bar Association probes fight between APC and PDP councils at the ongoing inspection of Osun governorship election materials in Osogbo. And outside Nigeria, Ukraine government forces repel rebels at Donetsk airport. Thanks for staying tuned with us. Now, details of the headlines and other stories. An active player in the Nigerian Civil War that lasted between 1967 to 1970, retired Brigadier General Benjamin Adekunle, better known as Black Scorpion, is dead. The war veteran's wife, Falake, disclosed the news of his death on Saturday morning. He died at the age of 78 in Lagos. Adekunle, who was compulsorily retired from the army in 1974, was the first to lead the 3rd Marine Commando that eventually spearheaded the end of the 3-year war in January 1970. Olusegun Obasanjo succeeded Adekunle, arguably the most conspicuous and controversial figure during the war in the 3rd Marine Commando. Meanwhile, President Goodluck Jonathan has condoled with the family of the late Civil War hero, Brigadier General Benjamin Adekunle, who passed away earlier on Saturday. The president says in a statement issued by spokesman Ruben Abati that the man who was known as the Black Scorpion would be remembered for his gallant leadership of the 3rd Marine Commandos during the war. He ordered that General Adekunle's Civil War heroic made him one of the most celebrated military commanders of his generation. President Goodluck Jonathan has assured military personnel of government's commitment to improving their welfare. He also revealed that the government will soon come up with a program to honor fallen military personnel. The president made the promise while addressing graduating military cadets during their combined passing out parade from the Nigerian Defense Academy. He commended the NDA for churning out highly disciplined military officers, but also charged the newly commissioned officers to exhibit high sense of professionalism in the course of their military career. A total of 104 cadets and another 213 short-service Army cadets were commissioned as officers. 20 of the new officers were cadets from Liberia and the Central African Republic. Special Forces, in a related issue, the federal government in contemplating the establishment of new special brigade forces in addition to the existing forces under the Nigerian Armed Forces. President Jonathan says this was needed to combat new security challenges in the country. The president spoke on Saturday at the passing out parade of officer cadets of the 61 regular course and Short Service Course 42 at the Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna. He ordered that the establishment of the new special forces was to enable the nation's army to be more alive to its responsibility of protecting Nigerian citizens. Adeboye Obasanjo, who was injured in a Boko Haram ambush in Michika, Adamawa State on Monday, met his father, former President Olusegun Obasanjo, on Saturday in Jos. Adeboye, who is the commander 135 Field Engineering Regiment of the Nigerian Army in the Plateau State capital, arrived at Wuse Close Jos, residence of the former president, around 6:15 p.m. after he was discharged earlier in the day from the military reference hospital in Kaduna. Details of their discussion could not be ascertained as the two met behind closed door with some military chiefs, the Plateau Deputy Governor, STF Commander Jos David Enetie, and Gbong Gwong Jos. Guyang Buba Obasanjo and his recuperating son made out of the meeting at about 7:09 p.m. Both left the residence of the former president in the same vehicle. A Lagos-based lawyer, Tunde Kolawole, has commended former Nigeria's President Olusegun Obasanjo for the orientation and upbringing given to his children. The legal practitioner, who was a guest analyst on Saturday edition of a flagship program, Core Digest, was pleased with the exemplary conduct of Adeboye Obasanjo, son of the former president, who sustained gunshot injuries in the battle with Boko Haram on Monday. Kolawole advised influential Nigerians to learn from the example displayed by the Obasanjo's family.
If we are afraid of for our own skin, if we are afraid that our own relations, our own bloods are being affected, then we must always provide special treatment for them, special opportunities and all that. Then we won't be alive to our responsibilities as a leadership. Leadership is all about sacrifice. It's all about showing good examples. So I think General Obasanjo is showing very, very good example, not just in allowing his own children or one of his own children to serve in them, but also insisting that he should be subjected to the ordinary medical opportunities that we do have in this part of the. He has all the resources to fly the man abroad to give him whatever the best treatment that could ever happen. But he has chosen not to do. I think that is a very good behavior also to say on his own part. But let me also say this. This is not the first time Obasanjo is going to be showing some good gestures. I must condemn him for that. Look at what happened between himself and Iyabo Obasanjo. I don't know whether you read that explosive exchange, especially the letter that Iyabo Obasanjo published in the paper. When Iyabo Obasanjo got admission, I think for his postgraduate studies in an American university and some of his other brothers and another, the man said, look, I will pay only your tuition fee. Your feeding and boarding and accommodations and all that, you will have to work for it and then be able to meet those challenges. It's not as if the old man doesn't have the resources to relay power, but I suspect that he doesn't want to pamper his children. He believes in the dignity of labor. He wants the children to also know what it feels to be hard work. Also, when you look at the exchange between Iyabo Obasanjo and his father and mother, you could see that the ramblings of Iyabo Obasanjo is all about, say, here we have a father who was a president, here we have a father who has been a former head of state. Iyabo Obasanjo would rather want to see his father, including his elder brother, the medical doctor, giving oil blocks to them and giving them opportunity, which he never gave to them. Because of that, Iyabo Obasanjo, from that letter, when you read in between the lines of that letter, she became so bitter. And also the house his father gave him to just stay. When he was a senator, he appropriated it and then gave it out, leased out the house to somebody else. When he is not the only daughter or when he's not the only child. And when the man had not given him the property as a gift. So what I'm drawing out of this is that I think it's the character trait of Obasanjo to really not to pamper his children, to really let them fend for themselves, to really be streetwise so that they could be better citizens and better children.
Nigeria's army authorities have decorated some of the officers and men that were injured during the ongoing war against insurgents. They also insisted that Boko Haram members are not better equipped than government troops. Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Kenneth, was at the head of the army team that visited the injured soldiers at the Army's reference hospital in Kaduna. 170 soldiers were on admission, but only 3 officers and 57 soldiers are still receiving treatment.
Do they have sheep? Do they have aircraft? Do they have helicopters? Do they have, even what they have are those things that were stolen? So they cannot be more sophisticated. They don't have more sophisticated. So why can't you? When you were able to capture prisoners, that they become prisoners of war. If you don't capture them, if they are killed in action, then you don't have any prisoners of war.
It's CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take a break and return with more stories. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
From time immemorial, women have birthed life, shaped character, and by extension, influenced the society. Moremi of Ife, Emotan of Benin, Queen Aminat of Zaria, all women of influence and power.
Whether it's before election, after election.
How ironical. Women being so powerful, yet have few grounds in decision making.
They see you as a wife, and I see you as a wife to a man.
We are talking women in politics.
A woman will be bold enough to stand up and say, I want to become president of Nigeria.
Only on CoreTV News.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you join us another edition of The Political Arena, the most detailed and incisive political show.
If you are a sitting governor and the opposition is able to stomach structure against you, that means you are wicked to the people.
Until the end of our time as the legitimate authority to govern this country.
Give me 20 minutes to move or they will shoot me.
He has no chance for survival. If he likes himself, this is the best time to get out before he perishes.
The PDP as a ruling party has failed.
So anybody who thinks that government will fold his hands and allow miscreants to take over the streets of our own state and cause havoc is deceiving himself.
The good, bad, ugly, and beautiful sides of the Nigerian political system. Join me every Sunday at 9:15 p.m. on CoreTV News.
Welcome back. This is CoreTV Primetime News. The National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, Maimala Buni, has urged the Independent National Electoral Commission to build on its success in the recent Osun governorship election for 2015 general polls. Buni, who made the call in Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, says the commission had laid good foundation which could be improved on for future elections. He added that the commission seems to have a rising image and it will be a gross disservice for INEC to allow anyone, group or political party to jeopardize its growing profile. But he insisted that as an electoral body, INEC must be totally independent, fair and objective in executing its responsibilities to any candidate, party, individual, group or official. He called on political parties and politicians to support the commission and the conduct of free and acceptable elections in 2015. The Nigerian Bar Association has ordered a probe into the show of shame involving APC and PDP councils at the ongoing inspection of election materials used for the August 9 governorship election in Osun State. The lawyers had engaged in a war of words and fought twice at the venue of the exercise. Rashid reports that though the lawyers have sheathed their swords and are ready to work according to the dictates of the profession, the embarrassment left by the ugly incident remains a source of concern for the NBA.
The show of shame started as the Election Petition Tribunal granted leave to the PDP and the APC on the 27th of August to inspect the election materials used during the governorship poll.
A lawyer that knows his onion will list. Yes, no, yes. Will list, let us know what to do. You don't know what to do. That's okay. You are so stupid, don't tell me that. You said your way. You are idiot also. You are idiot. You are stupid. It doesn't mean. You are stupid.
There was, however, no lesson learned from the previous day's disgraceful conduct as the lawyers again threw caution to the wind and engaged in physical fight.
You can only arrest you. Can never. So you need arrest me. No, then you are. Get
With the Nigerian Bar Association act by this development and threatening to dangle the axe on those found culpable in the embarrassing fracas, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Osun State, Wale Afolabi, reveals counsels to both parties are now on the round table to forestall reoccurrence and to fine-tune modalities for the inspection exercise.
Lawyers should conduct themselves with decorum. You know, law is a noble profession, and people that are in the profession are noblemen. I spoke with a few of our colleagues on the need for us to have a round table, a meeting, all the lawyers going to INEC office for the inspection. So that we are going to have a round table, we are going to discuss with ourselves and resolve all issues. If there are issues, we will look into it and resolve them. It's not good, it does not portray us in good light in this state for people to be seeing it all over the world. Lawyers staging in fisticuffs, fighting themselves and holding each other's clothes. It's not too good for us, and I can assure you that it will not happen again.
Notwithstanding the roundtable solution, all eyes are focused on the outcome of the NBA probe. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshobo.
As part of efforts to crop the scourge of the deadly Ebola virus disease, the Akpakpa division of the Lagos State branch of Nigerian Red Cross, in conjunction with a Nigerian music group, Lamborghini and Clay, created awareness of the disease and distributed over 300 free hand sanitizers to residents of Nanti Village and Snake Island in the area. Motayalo was on the Snake Island where the exercise took place and found in this report.
Getting set for a boat trip to Nanti Village, distance will actually not be a barrier to spread the message on the Ebola virus and of course to sensitize the people over across this water on how deadly the Ebola virus disease is and ways of preventing it. Prior to the sensitization, the residents of Nanti community have little or no knowledge of the Ebola disease and what hand sanitizers are used for. But after the sessions on hand washing exercise, lectures on Ebola and demonstrations on the use of hand sanitizers, these residents now have a different story to tell.
The elementary knowledge we ought to have has been given to us today, so it's a nice one.
After this lecture, it's like helping people, giving them tutorials, making them to know that life is so much long for you to just lose in a very short while.
One of the community's leaders says it would ensure the residents take to regular cleaning of the environment in order to prevent the disease.
I think the Minister of Health has spoken about the accord. People are prioritizing for today, so we think our head is very high.
The traditional head of the community advised Nigerians to emulate the artists in Red Cross Society in the campaign against Ebola.
Anything it tells us to do, like washing hands and wash well with clean water and soap and the cream, I believe, by the grace of God, we will not see something like Ebola.
These twin artists also lend their support to the campaign.
So what we tell them that, okay, this is how you sensitize yourself, this is how to take a proper eye. So we need more artists, to show more interest and then to be particular of these projects.
For the organizers, the campaigns in Nanti community was undertaken to address the ignorance on the part of the people, which could make them highly vulnerable to the disease.
But because of the fact that the Red Cross loves people, we love protecting people's life. So wherever people may be found, we will take pains that will cost us to make sure that we go in there for the people to have information, because we believe that information is power, and what people have, we make sure that we pass information as expected, we groom them well.
CoreTV didn't need a special phone call from the government before they came out here to support the fight of Ebola. Let everybody stand up. Lamborghini is doing it, Clay is doing it, CoreTV is doing it, Red Cross is doing it, Jevnik Restaurant supported us, they are doing it, you are doing it, your cameraman behind there, I saw him reaching out to people. Everybody is involved. That is what I feel every Nigerian should do.
The call for more efforts to assist the government to win battle against the Ebola virus disease. Adding to the list of Nigerians who are aware of the Ebola virus and ways of preventing this disease, residents in the Nanti community, Snake Island, have expressed joy to what they have learned today on preventing the Ebola virus and the use of hand sanitizers. However, the message of the organizers of this program is that governments and individuals together should redouble its efforts in combating the scourge of Ebola. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Medical laboratory scientists want the government to update and reactivate vaccine production facilities in the country. This, they say, is necessary at a time Nigeria is working hard to contain the spread of Ebola virus disease. Laboratory scientists made their stands known at the news conference in Abuja, where they also decried the over-relevance or reliance on imported vaccines and drugs.
We have the technical dexterity, we have the knowledge to produce vaccine, and we have done it before. We have our members, medical laboratory scientists, produced millions of doses of smallpox vaccine that was used in eradicating smallpox in 1978, both in Nigeria and in the West African sub-region, and we can do that again. So it's a question of creating the enabling environment. We will produce these things in Nigeria. Even it is possible to produce vaccine against Ebola virus because it is the same principle. So it's a question of, in fact, it will even be more beneficial to produce in country because you will be able to isolate the indigenous strain that is causing disease here rather than using the viral strain that is causing disease elsewhere.
The National Hospital has handed over donations it received on behalf of the Nyanya bomb victims to them. 3.6 million naira was distributed to over 30 survivors of the 2 bomb attacks that were treated at the hospital. The hospital management had earlier handed over 2 million to some of the bomb victims.
These are some of the victims of 2 recent bomb attacks in Nyanya, a suburb of the Federal Capital Territory. Until now, they had been getting material assistance from individuals while undergoing treatment at the National Hospital. But today, the hospital management is disbursing 3.6 million naira received on behalf of the bomb victims from individuals and groups. 54 victims were brought to the hospital for treatment, but 30 are benefiting, while others have had their share before now.
The list of those who made donations are: number 1, the All Progressive Governors Forum, Senator Smart Adeyemi, Chairman, Senate Committee on the Federal Capital Territory, Nigerian Environmental Society, Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion, the Cherubim and Seraphim Church, the Supreme Bible Club, academic staff of Staff Union of Nigeria.
Now it is time for the victims to receive their donations, and one after the other, they filed out.
Those who donated for the bombing victims will give you the starting donation. Thank you. Of the donors.
Some of the victims told CoreTV News that several months after the bombings, the memory is still fresh in their minds.
The discharge when the doctor went on strike, so they leave us there. So, and in our ward, I'm the only person that remains there. So we stay up to 1 month and 2 weeks. Yes, my mother, she tired, and she said that she want to go home. Before then, there was iron on my leg, because my leg break 2 places. So the doctor now came, he asked for the X-ray. We now tell him that they said that the result is not out, that he should go there and view it there. So when he went there and he viewed it there, he saw the leg, he said the leg is not okay, that they should put POP for the leg. So they now put the POP, so he now discharged us.
I live for Nyanya, but I just go meet my sister for central area here. I enter motor, say I go see my sister. My sister will come and say I go see, and the pikin nowhere. I said to I no go work today. My auntie no there for house. I said to I try enter motor go see my sister. The pikin nowhere. I just dey enter motor come here. I enter machine come here and come drop for Nyanya. I say I enter motor. Mama, I can't tell me, say, I no enter motor. Hi, the team, Mama, I can't tell me like this. Before I know, say, I put my leg for inside motor. The thing can't affect me, enter my body. Carry me go one place, I know the time. I see myself for ground. One day I say, hi God, thank God for my life.
Johanna is one of the survivors of the April 14 bombing. He has spent 5 months at the hospital, but still needs a bone surgery to make him walk again.
Since this incident happened on the 14th, I've been in the hospital up to now. Yesterday they discharged me. With the money they give me now, I want to, because me now, as you see now, for my leg, I still have a problem with my leg now. I have to go for the bone surgery. Why they put me this casting? There's a gap between bone for my leg, so I have to go for the bone surgery.
These bomb victims concede that they are lucky to be alive, having survived bombing that killed more than 80 people. They also hope that the donations will help them fully get back on their feet again.
It's the weekend edition of CoreTV Primetime News. We'll take another break and be back with business stories. Stay with us.
One continent, 54 countries, over 2,000 languages, but united with similar interests. As news breaks, we give you in-depth analysis around Africa every Monday on CoreTV News.
Torschütze zum zwischenzeitlichen 1-1. Semenike schickt Musa, da ist Ahmed Musa! Und da ist der Ausgleich!
It's a beautiful Saturday evening in the city of Lagos.
Off the turn, Phelps had it, but then Matsui kept going.
Miles. 5 to shoot. Leonard does.
And of course, making a difference for all of us here from all of the few things I hope one of that happen.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it, don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Down to business. Assessment of Nigeria crude oil differentials for October loading cargoes fell further over the weekend. Strong competition from other regions and the slack European demand has caused Nigeria oil to come under pressure. There were around 20-25 cargoes out of 63 for October loading still available for purchase before November cargoes come to market. But increasing sales from Libya have pressured Nigerian differentials as it is of a similar light quality. Nigeria is scheduled to export about 1.86 million barrels per day of crude oil in October, according to loading schedules. The Minister of Communications Technology, Omobola Johnson, has restated the commitment of the federal government to building an ever-present broadband infrastructure that will facilitate innovation and entrepreneurship in Nigeria. Johnson made this known during a panel discussion at the 9th Internet Governance Forum held in Turkey with the theme Policies Enabling Access, Growth and Development of the Internet. She disclosed that Nigeria is currently implementing a national broadband plan to increase broadband penetration in the country by a fivefold over the 2012 penetration rate in 2017. However, she noted that countries with a lighter or with a higher broadband penetration experience greater innovation. First Vice President of the Nigeria Stock Exchange, Aigboje Ike Imokwende, has charged stock exchanges in Africa to partner with each other in order to unlock the continent's growth potential and advance the development of its financial markets. It says Africa will lead global economic growth in the coming year as the continent has recorded an average growth rate of 5% over the past 10 years, underscoring its resilience to regional and global headwinds. He revealed 5 existing opportunities which in part could be made by Africa exchanges in Nigeria. Measures to improve competitiveness of the NSC include the recently developed corporate governance rating system for listed companies done in partnership with the Convention on Business Integrity. Africa, according to him, can leapfrog from current third world realities to higher levels of development. Against all efforts by the Securities and Exchange Commission and Nigerian Stock Exchange to ensure a high level of capital market literacy among Nigerian investors, the Capital Market Committee has said the capital market literacy in the country still remains low. Speaking at the third quarter Capital Market Committee in Lagos, the head of Capital Market Literacy Committee, Ariyo Olusekun, said research has shown the level of capital market literacy in Nigeria stood at 16%, which showed that there is still a lot of work to be done for its lax strategic direction and proper coordination. Also speaking, the chairman of Capital Market Master Plan Committee, Dotun Sulaiman, said its contributions to the GDP is low, and in terms of its relevance and active participation in the key sector of the economy is considered inadequate. And so for Nigeria to be a top 20 economy by the year 2020, it will need to play a significant role. The committee profiled solutions that increase in public awareness about capital market literacy should be included in curriculum professional bodies, schools and universities. Others are exhibitions, road shows and annual public lectures. And now to stories outside Nigeria. Rebels' gunfire was heard from the area controlled by government forces in Ukraine despite rebel victories in the rest of the eastern city. Reports say the fresh violence is a big challenge to a fragile ceasefire agreed on the 5th of September. Ukraine Prime Minister Arsenij Yatsenyuk has accused Russia and he says Ukraine was in a stage of war with the key aggressor being Russia. Yatsenyuk says the goal of Russian President Vladimir Putin is to put the entire Ukraine, adding that NATO was the only vehicle that could protect his country. Ukraine and Western countries accuse Russia of intervening on the side of pro-Russian rebels in eastern Ukraine. Russia has, however, denied this. Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov described as nonsense reports that Russia was intent on creating a buffer zone in eastern Ukraine. Russia, he says, wants Ukraine to be a prosperous, neutral and friendly country. He accused the U.S. of trying to use the crisis in Ukraine to break economic ties between the EU and Russia and force Europe to buy U.S. gas at much higher prices. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry says Egypt has a key role to play in countering state militants in Iraq and Syria. Kerry made the statement in his visit to Cairo, where he met Arab League chief Nabil al-Arabi and Egypt's President Sisi as part of his campaign to form a broad coalition to tackle militants. He has already enlisted the support of 10 Arab states so far, but ruled out Iran joining the U.S.-led coalition. The Arab countries to have signed up to the coalition are Egypt, Iraq, Jordan, Lebanon, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. Kerry says Egypt is on the front line of the fight against terrorism, particularly when it comes to fighting extremist groups in Sinai. He also acknowledged Egypt's reputation as an intellectual and cultural capital of the Muslim world. That's been our show for tonight. On behalf of the entire news crew, I am Gift Ogete, wishing you a good night rest. Good night.